Hey guys, BuildZoid here, and today we're going to be taking a look at some memory overclocking on the Asrock B550 Steel Legend. So, I've already done a bunch of memory testing on this board, and today we're just going to do some pretty silly memory overclocks, and I'm also going to talk about the actual general overclocking capabilities of this board when it comes to the memory, because this is a 4-layer PCB, which is kind of which for the price point where it's at, it's like kind of like I wonder about that, but yeah, it actually works just fine. So anyway, for the memory that we'll be using today, I've got this right here, which is a Crucial. This is a regular Crucial Ballistix 3600 CL16 kit, 1.35 volts. We're going to be doing almost 5 gigahertz on that, and then of course I've got the Ballistix Max 4000 CL18 kit. And we're going to be doing 5 gigahertz on that, which is actually completely ridiculous with considering the price of this board. Come on, focus, damn it. Whatever, doesn't matter. Let's shut this down, put in 2 sticks, because I can actually, that's the thing, I can actually run those speeds in dual channel on this board, which is really surprising considering the price point. At the same time, revE is kind of well known for putting very little load on the memory controller, so yeah, I'll just get the memory stick in and we'll get into it. Go. That's the memory installed. I kind of just want to load up a profile, but we're not actually going to do that. So let's just pull this up. The postcode is actually very useful. It's kind of my favorite feature on this entire board is the postcode. So, we've got our 2 memory sticks in there. Do we have an SPD check somewhere? Don't think this board supports that. Or, yeah, no it doesn't. Yeah, okay, well that's fine. Anyway, so the XMP profile you can see is 3600, 16, 18, 18. Micron revE memory ICs, 8 gig DIMMs, so single rank for each DIMM. And we're just going to go straight to 4933. Now, there is one thing that's extremely annoying with this board. So we're going to go to 4933, right? And you'll notice that the timings aren't all on auto. And this is really annoying because the board will actually, like, if I punch in, like, my own values for some of these, like, let's say I set this to 16, and I set this to 4, and I set that to 8, and this to 800, and then set those to auto, and then this is too high, so I set it to 18. That's too high, set it to 12. These are wrong. Set them back to auto. This is wrong. Set that to 32 ohms. Right, so I configure my memory settings, and then I go and decide to change my memory speed, and the lovely people at Asrock think they know more about... No. Absolutely not acceptable. Don't, like... This is like, so the stop automating crap in the BIOS. Just stop. Like, don't put, like, I didn't select a memory profile. I changed the memory ratio. My memory subtimings should not be being adjusted because I changed the ratio. If you want to do my timings for me, give me profiles. Don't randomly set my set. And the thing is, it's not even just the timings. Like, they're changing the freaking proc ODT. And I know for a fact that 34.3 ohms is suboptimal for all of the memory that I've run with this CPU. And for the CPU, we are running the 3950X. So that is really annoying. Luckily, it doesn't happen at, like, at 4400, that wouldn't be an issue. So at, like, normal speeds, I'm just going to auto it out. Right, so we're going to go to 32 ohms, because that's actually a good value. So at 40, like, if I'm down at the lower speeds, it doesn't do anything, right? And then same if we go up to, say, 4533, they don't change anything. And then for whatever reason, once you go up to 4933, Asrock has the need to screw up all your memory timings, because Asrock, that, like, don't do that. Similarly, like, we still have the ever so annoying, if you set your, you know, if you're setting your SoC voltage, they're gonna change the LLC. So if I change the yeah, like, I did not change the LLC setting, Asrock. I changed the voltage setting. Please stop trying to hold my hand. So I don't appreciate that kind of thing. It's not a big deal, but it's just kind of like, it's annoying. Anyway, so I do have a profile for 4933, but I'm just going to do a sort of like quick baseline start. And this is a 3600 CL16 memory kit, right? So that's kind of the neat thing about this. So we're just going to punch in. This is what I would like if you're trying to go for max frequency with revE, you can basically copy my settings for what I'm about to do. We're going to go, because I'm going to load up the profile for the actual like optimized timings where the performance doesn't suck so much, but well, actually, let's not leave that on auto. So there's a couple timings you need to set, like TRC, TRFC, proc ODT, 32. Gear down mode, we're actually going to disable gear down mode, and we're going to go to 2T command rate. We're going for max frequency here, so we just need stability. We don't care about performance. I'm going to set this to manual, and then we're going to go 20, 20, 24, 24. There. This is not, again, this is not supposed to be a stable overclock. This is just kind of like, look, Mom, I can do 4.9 gigahertz on a sub $200 motherboard with a memory kit that I don't remember the price of right now, but anyway, so I think that's actually, oh no, I missed that. I think the voltage, I might be running a little bit unnecessary amounts of VDIM for this, but it's fine. 0.12 and 1.1, and with that, this should just post, unless I screwed something up. Yeah, so we're good. So that's how you do 4933 on a sub $200 motherboard. Like, it's, and the crazy thing is, like, and also the false start. This is kind of normal. That like more like what it just did, where it got to the Asrock splash screen and then it restarted. Like that's pretty normal. A lot of boards will do that if you're pushing really aggressive memory settings. But right. Yeah, side effects of messing around with memory timings for a while. Because I was actually trying to dial in some like better performance at 4933 and as well as 5000 megahertz, but like bad idea. The board just about does 5G, and so you can't actually tighten up the timings at all. What are we gonna run? I think we'll just run Geekbench because that's like that's quicker than running IDA. Also, it's a bit more stressful in terms of stability. So yeah. Also, this kit, I've not managed to get this kit up to 5000 megahertz, but the Ballistix Max, that's the one that does, well, that'll do 5000. Though at that point the board gets very, very difficult to post. Like it starts doing, it's more than just false starts. Like it'll actually get stuck on memory training postcodes and that kind of thing. So 5G is really annoying. So I expect the score right now to be absolutely atrocious because the timings are auto and yeah, like even the primaries are very loose. And now I just remember that I should have probably talked through how the motherboard handles other more normal memory configurations. But yeah, so, you know, this is mostly showing off that, look, I can go very high frequency. It's not actually performing very well. It's also not very stable at all. I do have Mem Test on this, don't I? Anyway, but yeah, like, this is mostly what this is about, right? Is just like that number right there. That's the whole point of what I did just now. Performance-wise, it's actually kind of awful. But, and if we run Mem Test, I expect it to just puke errors everywhere. Is this the one? No, that's too big. Yeah, so that's 12 gigs. And Windows tab. Oh, it's not immediately spewing out errors. I am very surprised. Spoke too soon, perhaps. Oh, wait, there. I was hitting Alt-Tab instead of Windows-Tab. So you might actually be able to stabilize this. Not that there's much point in doing that, because it's incredibly slow right now. Like, 7K Geekbench is bad. Like for Geekbench, I'd say like a good daily setup, you're looking over 8K Geekbench memory performance, and so this right here, like, yeah, it might be stable, but it's slow. It's very, very slow. Also, we're at 1.65 volts, so I wouldn't be dailying this anyway. Yeah, I just wanted to show that, you know. The thing is like I've done 5G, when I was testing the memory overclocking capabilities of the board, I was obviously using the Ballistix Max kit. But the thing about using that kit is, well, that kit's very expensive, and like I've already used it for other videos going for just high frequency, so I wanted to use a different kit to just go like, yeah, these other kits can also do similar things, though I've not managed to get these to do 5. It's taking a while to restart. There we go. So now I'm just going to load up something that actually performs well and is extremely unstable. It's also even higher voltage. So right now we're at just 1.65 volts, and now we're going to load this profile. And so yeah, now we're running like 1900 FCLK, which the board does just fine. There's no problem with that. Like, same voltages. I mean, the VDDP is high, and of course the SoC voltage is 25 millivolts above what I would run daily, but again, this is mostly for benchmarking purposes. I'm shoving 1.7 volts into the memory sticks, so any pretense of this being safe for long-term use is gone when you consider the VDIM that I'm running here. And so this should do a little over 8,000 Geekbench. So we'll just run that, and while that's running, I'm going to talk about the actual sort of, like, there's other benchmarks we're going to run. Like, I'm also going to run IDA, of course, because most people don't follow Geekbench that closely. But anyway, so yeah, so with revE, so Micron revE, the board is capable of absolutely ridiculous clock speeds, which is not really surprising because revE is kind of well known for doing exactly that. But still, it's like, compared to, like, in my experience on B450 motherboards, this is actually, like, on B450, I'd be getting stuck around sort of like 4400-ish, even with revE, though at the time, like, the thing is, the board vendors have probably also just revised the topologies, so probably even the cheaper B550 boards would actually do quite well at this point, especially since I think this uses the exact same memory topology as, like, the B550M Pro 4 from Asrock, so, you know, I'd assume those boards actually behave a lot like this in terms of memory overclocking. So yeah, 2 DIMMs of revE, and you can just do stupid things. You can go all the way up to 4933. There's no problems with that. Now with BDI, the board just kind of implodes, and you're stuck at like 4400. Or it's not so much stuck at 4400, but like 4400 is already where you start running into stability challenges and post challenges. So that sort of like shows, you know, how much of a difference there is between like BDI and revE in terms of how difficult the different memory chips are to run. But yeah, so this board's support for BDI is not anywhere near as strong as the revE support. Anyway, that was an 8700, so let's fire up IDA. As for 2x16, like higher capacity memory setups, like 2x16 BDI on this motherboard actually works really badly. I couldn't get it over 4066, so in terms of actual max, like, stabilizable clock, you're probably looking at, like, a little over 4,000. Come on, run. There we go. So right now the profile that's running is 4933 CL17, but yeah, so 2x16 BDI, like 4066 megahertz max, which kind of sucks. And interestingly enough, though, 4x8 actually outclocks 2x16, which you wouldn't really expect considering that this motherboard does use a daisy chain memory topology. But that's kind of the weird thing is, like, 2x16 DIMMs generally have like a weird time in terms of support, as in the CPU, like the BIOSes don't necessarily play with them that well. And so a side effect of that is that on a lot of motherboards, even when you have a daisy chain topology, you're better off running 4x8 instead of 2x16, just because the support for 2x16 DIMMs is just kind of horrible. Though up to 3800, the board works with 2x16 and 4x8 just about the same. It's just 4x8, you can go up to like 4133 quite easily instead of getting stuck at like 4066, which it's not a huge difference, but it is a measurable and noteworthy difference. It's like it's a full ratio worth of memory difference. So yeah, that's kind of the well, all of the memory I tested is just like optimally, if you're buying this board, you'd actually be running 4x8 with your Ryzen 3000 series CPU. And then the interesting thing is of course, there's the upcoming Renoir desktop APUs like the 4700G, which the thing with those is like, those probably have a stronger memory controller than the current CPUs. So there's a good chance that when those come out, all of the testing I've done with 3rd gen, like, the frequencies will get bumped up maybe 200, 300, 400 megahertz for every single configuration, though that's actually kind of unlikely. You're probably going to see something where, like, the revE might get bumped up to ridiculous speeds. BDI will take less of an improvement, but, yeah, so the actual benchmark here, this is actually not that bad, but it's not great in terms of performance, right? This is just 60 gigs per second. 17, a little under 70 nanoseconds worth of latency. Nice. You know, write speed is around 60 gigs as well. Copy is ridiculous, but copy tests spit out weird, like overly high numbers. Anyway, so that's IDA and Geekbench there. So yeah, like, the thing is, I'm still impressed with the fact that I can run 4933 at all, and more impressed that we can run 4933 CL17. So it's pretty cool. And it's also pretty cool that this memory is, you know, capable of these kinds of speeds, even if just for benchmarks. Like, I have some older Micron revE memory kits that I couldn't get them over 4733, like, ever. Like, the best stick did 4733. So yeah, this is pretty neat. Let's swap memory sticks and do the sort of 5 gig screenshot, and yeah, that's gonna be it. Like, I'm actually gonna just sort of use the same 4933 settings, because the main thing here is not so much the memory sticks, which, whoa, these are actually warm. Like, not hot, they're like pleasantly warm for my relatively cold fingers right now. It's been really cold in the UK. Like, this time last year, I'm pretty sure I was melting. And right now, it's like, it's been raining and windy for the last several days. There we go, that's the memory sticks installed. And now we're going to go for 5G. Which, unfortunately, is, like, I tried to do some like, 5G for performance settings, similar to what I have for 4933 here with the CL17. And actually, I'll show you the full timings in, you know, maybe you have this board or a similar motherboard and you have Micron revE and you want to bench it. Well, yeah, this is, like, the primaries are mostly going to be, like, TRCD mostly depends on the frequency you're at and the memory kit you have, because that timing doesn't really scale with actually, I've heard it scales with temperature, but it doesn't scale with anything else for revE. TCL scales with voltage, kinda, not really that much. Like, I've gone all the way up to like 1.8 volts, and a lot of the time I couldn't stabilize it. I think I was also at that point maybe hitting the limits of what the motherboard can do. So we'll have to see if, you know, I test some motherboards and the timings can go lower with higher voltages. But yeah, so there's the primaries. TRP can go low. Like, basically TRCD is going to wall, but TCL and TRP will scale with voltage. TRAS, you just add up your TRCD to your TCL, and actually I have it a little bit low. I'm very good at math, as you can clearly see right there. TRC, generally have to keep it kind of high. TRRD, TRRDL, you can set, well, SNL, 4, 6, 16. You know, basically this part of the memory timings is what I'd run for, like, Samsung BDI, and we get TWR at 16, which actually is basically what I run for BDI as well. SCL's at 4, 800 TRFC, side effects of revE, just not doing tight TRFC. TCWL 16, RTP 12, and then TRDWR 10. So, and 32 ohm proc ODT 2T command rate with gear down mode disabled, because if you don't disable gear down mode, then command rate 2T doesn't work. Catabos configuration of just 20, 20, 24, 24, which I normally refer to this as drive strengths. So, anyway, now let's bump this up to 5,000. Now, this is not actually going to do 5,000 at these... Well, it might do 5,000 at these settings, but I don't trust it. It's really unreliable, so we are not going to try to do that. I'm going to... Oh, also, thank you, motherboard. Thank you for destroying all of my timings. You're great. I really appreciate that. It's fine, though, because we're just going for max frequency right now, so I don't actually need my timings, but... The problem is, that right there does not work. It has to be 32 ohms. It might be specific to my CPU, but the thing is, I actually copied the... Like, these settings that I'm running right here are what I copied off of the 3700X when I did 5G with the X570 ITX Strix. So, yeah, the 32 ohm proc ODT I think is maybe just specific to the memory sticks at these kinds of speeds. So, anyway, actually, 1.7 volts should be fine. Oh boy, this board goes up to 2.2 volts. Neat. I didn't even realize it goes that high, but yeah, if you wanted to get serious about benching. So F9 does not mean it failed. It can mean it failed, but on the second boot, if it gets F9 again, then it failed. But, and yeah, so 5G, unfortunately, not very reliable. It is doable. I have screenshots of it, but... And this is where the postcode comes in handy, because you can learn which postcodes tell you that you're really screwed up, which would be something like a 22 or an 8D. Then 8D, 22, and there's like one other one that's like you need to do something about your timings. And then there's a bunch of them where it's like, okay, this will actually work. F9 can sometimes like... F9 can sometimes start working. What's also neat with this board is, unlike a lot of my other AM4 motherboards, this one actually recovers a lot of the time. Not all of the time, but there's an automatic, like, retry function, like, safe boot function built into the AGSA. And on a lot of motherboards, it doesn't bloody work at all. Like, clear CMOS is the only way to get anywhere. This board, actually, most of the time, does trigger that safe boot function, and so that's actually really neat, though it isn't 100% reliable. I have had memory settings where, you know, it wouldn't be posting and I'd have to clear, like, it wouldn't post 6, 7, 8 times in a row and it just wouldn't trigger the safe boot, so at that point you just have to clear the BIOS. Okay, so it doesn't want to do 5,000. I'm going to try, like, the thing is, the voltage is not the, might be the FCLK. So, fun fact, as you clock the memory up, the FCLK gets less and less stable. Also, running one-to-one mode, like FCLK equal to UCLK, also leads to worse memory stability. I mean, leads to worse infinity fabric stability, so, yeah, that's rather annoying, but what is it screwing up? Oh, that should have been 18. Yeah, so this should be fine at this point. We're just going to try that again. And there we go. Okay. Yeah. So now I nailed it. And this is going to be horribly slow because, again, all the sub-timings are on auto. And, like, I have tried to tighten them up to approach the settings that are on that 4933 CL17 profile. But, unfortunately, basically tightening up any of the timings makes the booting much less reliable. Like right now you're already seeing that it's like, yeah, it's not truly dialed in, but if I start messing with the sub timings to try get them tighter, then it starts getting stuck over and over and over again. Also, it just does that where, you know, it'll get into Windows and Windows will die. That's not a false start. Like, a false start is if the motherboard gets to its own splash screen and then decides to reset. If you get all the way into Windows and then it crashes, it's like your memory's very unstable. So that's what we're looking at right now. But that's roughly what you'd expect when pushing 5,000. Like, I'm just pushing this for the sake of showing off. Also, like, Asrock themselves only rate this, like, rate this motherboard up to 4733. So... yeah, if this runs Geekbench, I'll be very surprised. If this finishes Geekbench, I'll be extremely surprised. Like, I've done it a couple times, but it is super, super unstable at these settings. It's also really slow. So, yeah. Anyway, like, the thing... yeah, there it goes. So, Yeah, this is like screenshot settings. This isn't run any software settings. And that was a false start, right? Got to the splash screen, then crashed. I wonder if the dims are just getting too warm, because revE is actually somewhat temperature sensitive, so I'll throw a fan on it. And yeah, it stopped training, so I'm going to assume the memory actually just got too warm. But still, it's like if you wanted to, like, on the side get into competitive benchmarking and wanted a 5 gigahertz validation, it's kind of neat that you can do it with a board like this. That's at least sort of my justification for why I'm making this video, because like the thing is, you can probably copy my settings and use them on a bunch of other motherboards as well, assuming you have a strong enough memory, like a strong enough set of Micron revE. But yeah. And like the other sticks, the 3600 CL16 kit, it doesn't boot with these settings at all. It won't even train. So, and even with higher TCL, higher TRCD, it just doesn't even train. So, yeah, not sure what actually causes that, but that kit, I can't get it to do these kinds of settings at all. But assuming you have a good enough, like strong enough kit of revE and you just want a 5 gigahertz memory screenshot to show off on forums or Reddit or wherever, yeah, you can just copy my settings, and then you need like a top bin of Micron revE, and you're done. Even like, and you can make it work even on a board like this, right? There, it's 5 gigahertz, or yeah, 5 gigahertz totally. And there goes the operating system. Oh man, when I first did 5G, it was a bit more stable, but admittedly at the time I had the window open, so the room was a bit cooler, and so yeah, it's very upset at this point. It's way too warm. The funny thing is, when I say way too warm, I don't mean like the dims, they're not even that hot. They're just like I'm touching them with my finger, and they're just like, they're not cold to the touch, but they aren't hot to the touch either, or even warm. It's just kind of like they feel like they're room temperature, but that's already a little bit too warm. So considering that the room temperature is slightly higher than it used to be when I first set up the 5G. So yeah, still, that's kind of it for the video. So, important takeaway, this board is in 2x8 configurations, especially with Micron memory, it does great, as in you're not going to have any issues as far as I'm concerned. In 4x8 configuration, Samsung B-Die, like 4x8 Samsung B-Die is better than 2x16 Samsung B-Die, slightly, but noticeably it is better. And 2x8 Samsung B-Die clocks way worse than Micron revE. Like we're talking like 500 megahertz less. So yeah, that's kind of all you need to know about the memory overclocking. And yes, the postcode is very useful. Also, the board is actually good about recovering. Which yeah, it's kind of neat, because a lot of the other boards, like especially like MSI, Gigabyte, Asus, like all three of them, I have to clear the CMOS very, very frequently when doing, silly things like this with the memory. So it's nice to have a board where you can actually not, have to, or you don't have to keep track of saving profiles so much. Like, I really appreciate that. So yeah, that's it for the video. So thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave any comments, questions, suggestions down in the comment section below. Also, thank you to Crucial for the memory sticks. Thanks to the patrons for the CPU and the GPU and the power supply. And you get the idea, like basically most of the setup. And what else was there? Right, I do have a Patreon, which is how I, have a 3950X and that kind of thing. So there's a link to that down in the description below where you can support me. There's also the HOC Teespring store. There's a new shirt design with like a memory overclocking theme. You might want to check that out. There's a link to the Teespring store down in the description. And there's, of course, other things than shirts. There's stickers, posters, that kind of thing. So yeah, if you'd like to support the channel by picking up something on the Teespring store, that'd be great. And that's it for the video, so thank you for watching, and goodbye.